To order the meeting of the Manassas Park Governing Body for February 4th, 2025. Let's begin with the approval of the agenda. Does I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oppose, one second here. I was wondering if we could take out 9B from consent. I have an informational question I'd like to ask staff.
9B from consent. The Prince William Health Department agreement.
Yeah,
Sure. Everyone okay with taking that out? Okay.
thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Second.
All in
Did you want to
favor?
move that down? Did you want to move it down?
Whenever, yeah. When do you want
What number?
So 9B will become,
to read?
11C.
is it new business? 11C?
Yes, you haven't seen this before.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. 9B will now become 11C.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Please join us for a moment of silence and the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, right now we have general public comment time. We will have comments for the public hearing after this. Is anyone here for general public comment? Nope. All right, moving on. Oh, I'm sorry, we do have one public comment that was submitted online from Laura Hampton, 129 Cabell Drive. The summary reads, I am expressing my concern about the proposed increase in the city manager's spending authority. The plan to raise the purchasing limit to $250,000 up from $100,000 lacks supporting information for residents to review beforehand. Residents must have access to read-ahead documentation to understand reasoning behind such another significant change. This submission in its entirety will be included in the minutes. Tonight we have our public hearing for the applicants for the governing body and the school board. I declare the public hearing open. Resumes for the applicants are available to view in the office of the city clerk Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also review the candidates' submitted answers to the questionnaire that the governing body provided online on our website under the last week's 2 agendas. All right, I'll start with the list of people who are signed up, and then we'll go through the room, and then I'll read the list that was submitted online. We'll start with Ellen Slobodnik. Please come to the microphone, state your name, and you have 3 minutes. Ms. Connor will keep the time.
Good evening. My name is Ellen Slobodnik. I live on Silver Meteor Court. I've been a Manassas Park resident for almost 4 years now and part of the Manassas Park School Board for about 3. One of the reasons that I'm an active, passionate Manassas Park citizen is that is invested in community service is because of Kevin Moreau. Kevin has been a Manassas Park community member since he started living in the Park 170 apartments 7 years ago. After a few years, he was looking to buy a home and decided to become a permanent resident of Manassas Park. Rather than moving to a neighboring community, he planted his roots here. He has continued to commit himself to the community because he loves it, the people, and its values. He is an empathetic, generous, honest family man that wants a future where our community continues to thrive and grow. Throughout his years as a resident, he has consistently shown up for Manassas Park, and he has remained invested in Manassas Park's development. He is a member of the Manassas Park Community Center, where he frequents almost daily, and his kids have attended multiple summer camps there. He has even made sure that his family has a library card here. He regularly attends the farmers market, downtown center events, and frequents the local shops and restaurants to support the local businesses. We have attended events at the schools, local town halls, and other events put on by local committees. He has also taken part in various community initiatives, such as Keep the Park Beautiful, where we've hiked Blooms Park and Signal Hill to clean up trash. We consistently watch the governing body meetings on YouTube so we can remain aware of local developments and happenings. He has voted in every election because the democratic process and local government is important to him. As a current member of the Economic Development Authority, he has shown that he is a dedicated community leader with a proven track record of service and commitment to our city. Throughout his career, he has worked with people in different communities around the world. Kevin has consistently demonstrated his ability to bring diverse groups together to achieve common goals and foster a collaborative and inclusive environment. His priorities include improving public education, enhancing public services, and fostering economic growth while promoting sustainable development. Kevin believes in an honest, transparent government and is committed to ensuring that every voice in our community is heard. His leadership, integrity, and innovative ideas make him an excellent choice for a member of the governing body, and he's who we need to have this city continue to grow and to seize future opportunities for growth and development. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tyler Vaughn. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. Tyler Vaughn, Silver Meteor Court, The Park. I'm here, sorry, that's what I like to call it. I'm here in favor of Kevin. I can't speak to all the stuff that he does in the community, honestly, but I can speak for what he does for me. He is my neighbor. I have 3 kids. They don't know him. He helps me out all the time. It was snowing in that recent snowstorm. Kevin offered a broom to help me get snow off the car, gave a shovel to my little daughter who was crying because I only had one. So things like that, that's stuff that Kevin does for me. I don't know Kevin at all, but now I do. I can call him my friend now. So the fact that he is a well-qualified individual, if I had his resume, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd probably try to be a millionaire. But he's spending his time, his energy, and his effort to come here and be in front of you all and try to be a member and make the city fantastic and a better place. I got 3 minutes, so I can just say some stuff, right? But I really don't know what else to say that will make you say yay or nay to Kevin. But Kevin got me out the house on a Tuesday night to come here and say nice words about him. And I think he deserves every word I said. And I really hope that you all approve Kevin and make him a member. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I should have
you.
just done that. My head was like down the whole time.
Thank you. Mike Smith.
Mike Smith, 102 Colfax. Why do I always have to follow up the most eloquent speaker in the room? I was here last week for the nominees to speak. It was very informative watching them speak for this open seat on the school board and the city council. I was really impressed. I thought everyone did great. That said, I would hope the board would vote for Laura Hampton for the open seat on the governing body. Out of everyone, I feel she's put forth the most effort on the issues that matter to us, including zoning, parking, driveways, trash, and the blighted houses a couple of years ago. Laura has been a champion for the community maintenance working group, Keep the Park Beautiful, and the regular community trash pickups, which are pretty dear to my heart. Again, I think everyone did great. I was very impressed with the doctor who spoke about increasing the city's use of clean energy. I don't think there's any wrong choice, but I hope the governing body brings Laura back to complete her plan for Keep the Park Beautiful and for the 50th anniversary celebration. I also hope that everyone who put in their name for the running this time will come back for the next election. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who's not signed up who would still like to make comment? Come on up. Please state your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes.
My name is Jessica Benitez. My address is 148 Holden Drive, Manassas Park, Virginia 20111, and I'm here for Laura. I believe truly that, there shouldn't even be this happening since she was 55 votes short for the seat. But that's just my personal belief. I did watch the, whatever we want to call it, last week. It was a little concerning, the individuals that were running. So I really hope that, we go with someone that has the experience, that has the history, that is part of the park, and that will continue to be part of the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Name, address, 3 minutes.
No, Rachel Kirkland, Brandon Street. Really quickly, thank you for the time for interviewing me. I was really grateful to be among such great company. You have a tough decision with, some established people here in the community, Donald and Laura. I wanted to just comment on how impressed I was with all of the interviews. I got to see somebody who's probably future inner city, Kevin, speak, and I just signed his petition this evening. I'm super excited to see what comes next for him. And then also the school board candidates, they were both superb. I was very impressed with Zach especially. So good luck to everyone who applied, and
Thank you. Anyone else like to make comments? All right, I will list the names of everyone who applied for the record. The applicants for governing body were Laura Hampton, Stephanie Smith, Mohammed Kamaluddin, Kevin Moreau, Donald Shuemaker, Rachel Kirkland, and Robert Maldonado. For school board, we had Maria Shvik and Zachary Graham. Online, the following people emailed: for Zach Graham, Irene Tran, and Jimmy Nguyen. Laura Hampton had Pat Casares, Joe Delansky, Rich Kessler, Thomas Harrison, Shalab Gupta, Karen Miller, Deborah Wine, Jan Rail, Christina Kim, and Hope Hampton. Rachel Kirkland, Shannon Myers, Kevin Moreau, Alfranda Durr, Andre James, Dr. Shante Jones, Lawana Bryant, Tyler Vaughn, Michael Cummings. Robert Maldonado had Annika Ram, and Maria Shivik had Laura Hampton. I declare, will close the public hearing. Appointments will be made at our meeting on February 11th. We are up to our presentations. Our first presentation is Actions in the Community Through Service. Welcome, Mr. Stanley Jones.
Good evening, Mayor Minson, members of the board, community members. Thank you for having me this evening. As I prepare, I do want to introduce one of your citizens. Michael Jones is a citizen in Manassas Park for a very long time. I happen to have the honor of being his brother, so I want to thank him personally for being here tonight. I'm having some difficulty getting this open. Former educator, I shouldn't have that problem, but I do. So again, thank you for having me. What I'd like to do is just spend a few minutes, basically give you an overview of ACTS, in particular, focusing on what you're interested in, and that's Manassas Park City data. So I have that in my presentation. You may not know this, but this is the 56th year that ACTS has been in Prince William County. We were founded on January 20th, 1969. So we've been around as long as the Super Bowl, almost. They started 2 years before we did. And I've worked in many places in my career, but I'm happy to say that our mission is fostering hope, providing relief, and promoting self-sufficiency. And often when you work, it's hard to connect the work you do to why you do it. And at ACTS, it's very easy to do that. We were founded. Founded in 1969 by 13 churches. So this includes the 13 churches that are the original founders. And we've recently launched a new website. And on our website, what we had not done well is to recognize the people in the community that were instrumental in ACTS being founded and the service. So this is on our website now, and I want to share that with you as well. I'm just going to jump straight to it. So here's our data for emergency assistance. And so emergency assistance, for those of you who don't know, emergency assistance is our program for assisting any resident that has trouble with rent or mortgage or utilities. And so you'll see in the city of Manassas, the number of clients we serve, including children. We serve families, and the total paid toward utility bills and mortgage. And we get a lot of that funding from Prince William County. Prince William County is pretty generous to us in terms of helping us meet this need in the community. But I always say the challenge in a nonprofit is that the budget is limited and the demands aren't. So we always need your financial contributions. Our rapid rehousing program, that's when we get folks from shelters into actual housing. And we have 2 shelters that we own. We have a domestic violence shelter in the eastern part of the county, and we have a homeless shelter in the eastern part of the county. We also have a shelter, a domestic violence shelter in the western part of the county that unfortunately has been closed since 2020. And so I'm working with Department of Housing and Community Development, Department of Social Services, and others for Prince William County to try to get that reopened. I walked into that challenge, unfortunately, when I arrived, so it's been a formidable challenge for us. So the Beverly Warren is our homeless shelter. You see there again the number of clients that we serve that are Manassas Park residents. And then I want to pause here to talk about domestic violence and sexual assault, because unfortunately, there aren't many entities in any community that do that, and we're the only ones in Prince William County to provide those services. And I always like to share with the public that if you think about the prevalence of violence anywhere on the planet, the most prevalent form of violence anywhere on the planet is domestic violence. It's in every community, every business. It's included in the faith communities. It's everywhere. And I don't have to highlight what's happened in Manassas Park this past year related to that. You know about that case, and we have been working very closely with that community, mostly to educate folks on the signs of domestic violence and what a lot of folks think that domestic violence is purely physical. It usually begins at something very subtle, which is a power relationship, a power and control relationship. And we fortunately have 2 members of our staff who are community educators. So if you ever want us to come and speak and try to inform the public about the warning signs, so to speak, and also the prevalence, we're happy to do that. And again, the majority of we served, you'll see this in the upcoming slides, but one of the things that we do, I'll talk a little bit about what we do specifically for domestic violence in Prince William County. And this last piece of data for the city of Manassas Park is for our Hunger Prevention Center, and doesn't really represent all that well what we do. We feed lots of families and lots of children, but in Manassas Park, you'll see the numbers there, and that may be a matter of people not knowing about us. So I won't go through that anymore. This is our FY24 data from July 123 to June 2024, and you'll see there we provided food to 10,880 families. When I arrived as CEO of ACTS in September of 23, we were servicing about 730 families. So the need is going up, the demand is going up. What we've had to do, to be real blunt with you, is we've had to provide families less food in order to meet everyone's need. So that's just the harsh reality of kind of what we're dealing with in our community. I also want to let you know that our food pantry has 4 staff members. We feed 1,000 people a day. We do that because of volunteers. We have, I don't think she would mind me saying this, we have a 77-year-old volunteer who volunteers 40 hours a week. She just reached her 7,000th hour of volunteer service. So that speaks to the heart of the people in our community. And then you'll see there, again, the number of families we serve and the total weight in food. You've heard me mention the Beverly Warren. What we do is we get folks, we don't want folks in our shelters long. We want folks in our shelters for a very short period of time. So what we do is we get them out of our shelter into stable rental housing. So we have a cohort of landlords throughout the county where we move people from the shelter to stable rental housing. We'd love to get to the point where we move people from shelters to stable rental housing to affordable housing, which we know is a real challenge in our community. And with that, I'll go to the affordable housing program. We actually own 2 townhomes. Well, we co-own 2 townhomes. Let me correct myself. We acquired 2 townhomes from Prince William County in 2015. And what we do there, that's our affordable housing program. So we find a client, usually a family, we can place them in the home. They pay rent to us. We supplement that rent. They can stay in that home up to 3 years, and we case manage them through the entire period to get them from the rental to affordable home. And what we don't get and this is not a complaint, it's just a, always say, an observation, not a complaint or criticism. We do not get funds to maintain our facilities, so we have to do that work ourselves. So we've been out of compliance, I'm going to be honest with you, with the county until recently. We were able to acquire some funds to renovate one of those properties, and we have a family that's going to be moving in this week. So we're really, really proud of that. So if you want to assist us in upgrading the other facility, let's talk later. But we do have 2 properties. I was involved in a conversation with the Prince William Human Alliance today, and we're pursuing what we call an eviction reduction grant. I just learned that approximately 50% of the people that are attempted to be evicted from their homes, the landlords lose in those cases. It's very expensive and very costly to do that, so we're pursuing a grant with some other partners so we can case manage clients who are looking at eviction and help them get stable, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. You already heard me talk about emergency assistance, so I won't go through that. That just gives you the data for FY24, $85,000 we spent in utility assistance. We do have a thrift store that has been around for about 30 years. I will say with much admiration for the thrift store, it's not a very viable business in terms of revenue. Right now, at one point it was in our history. Right now, it's a little bit of a challenge to make that create lots of revenue for us. But it has been in the past a big source of revenue for us. So this is where I want to pause to talk more about domestic violence. So you see there we served 3,555 individuals. What we do is in the Manassas courthouse, in the city of Manassas, we have 4 court advocates, actually down to 3 court advocates now. When a client comes in who's experienced domestic violence and wants to file a protective order, we are there on the non-court side to kind of hold their hand through the process, help them develop a safety plan, get them in the shelter if we need to, and then we work with them to help them understand the court process, and then we case manage them. We will connect them with some support services. We can connect them with behavioral mental health services if they need that, and through a relationship with George Mason. So we are basically an advocate that hands them off to other resources in the community. You've heard me talk about the two safe houses, and we are, you see there the individual and group support. We assist folks when they first experience trauma, understanding how to deal with the trauma. The lethality assessment protocol. So this is a service that we provide in collaboration with Prince William County Police Department. And this is for a victim who is in imminent danger. Someone that needs help right on the spot. They call the police department, they call us, we try to find housing for them. I'm happy to share with you that we did 444, so we have folks that are 24 hours that accept calls from the police department for victims in imminent danger. We are working very closely with the Manassas Park City Police. We have a training session scheduled with them this coming Thursday, and we've been involved in other trainings with them since I've been here. So they are indeed a good partner of ours. Again, this just gives you some data on, for FY24, on the number of sexual assault. We also have a sexual assault crisis line. So you see we had 59 calls. We served 300 clients of sexual assault. Prior to 2020, if there was a victim of sexual assault, they could get their medical exams at a hospital in Prince William County. That's no longer the case. They have to go to Fairfax or Stafford to get those services. So we're working with the health entities in the county to get that reestablished. But that's a funding issue and a training issue and a staffing issue for the hospitals. So we are working, we'll just share with you, we're working very closely with Prince William County has a new Office of Community Safety. So we're working very closely with them to see how we can build this infrastructure of support for clients of sexual assault services. You've heard me talk a little bit about community education. This just gives you the numbers of things that we did in FY24. We reached 2,800 community members, including community members in Manassas Park related to the Monte Carlo case. So we can provide that training and awareness for practically anyone, anytime. This gives you the data on our domestic violence crisis line as well as sexual assault line. And one of the things that we also were doing with the Agency on Aging is that we check on seniors in our community. You may not know Prince William County. About 13% of the people in Prince William County are seniors, including myself. So I have a special place in my heart for seniors, being one myself. And then lastly, I'm wrapping up here in a minute. Lastly, the question is how to volunteer. And so what I want the public to know is if you want to volunteer at ACTS, go to our website first. You can choose how you want to volunteer. You can register as a volunteer. We do vet our volunteers. So if you want to volunteer at ACTS, I would encourage you first, don't just show up, go to the website. You can register in advance. And then what we will do is screen your application and then work with you. There's all kinds of ways to volunteer at ACTS. A lot of folks volunteer at the Hunger Prevention Center. I would encourage you to do that at some point. I do that occasionally. We have late hours on Tuesdays, so we can accommodate those families that are working during the day. So we have a 5 to 7 shift every Tuesday. And what I would warn you if you ever decide to work at the Hunger Prevention Center is 2 things. It's going to be very sobering. The people that you think need food aren't the people that you think that need food. Usually it's a working family that can barely make ends meet. Often there's a perception of who those families are. It's not who you think it is. So I would encourage you to do that. And then we also have a lot of folks that sometimes get in trouble, young folks that get in trouble, and the court helps them volunteer at ACTS. So that's usually a pretty sobering thing for them. As a former educator, I often talk to the young people when they come to volunteer to make sure they don't ever come back to volunteer unless they want to. So there's all kinds of ways to volunteer at ACTS. I did mention the services that we provide for sexual assault clients. One of the things that we do is that we accompany, so if someone has been sexually assaulted, they call our hotline, we accompany them to the hospital. It's a service that has grown post-COVID for us. How can you help? I always like to say, my CFO would want me to say 2 things to you. The best way to donate is funding, because what it allows me to do as CEO is to look across the organization and ensure that we have proper funding for all of our programs. People like to donate to the Hunger Prevention Center. I would ask that if you make a donation that you make it unrestricted, because it's a better donation for us. And then 88%, this is in your annual report, 88% of any funds that come to us go to client services, but there is a cost for doing business. You know that as a governing body. We try to minimize that, but there is a cost for doing business. Certainly you can make in-kind donations. Again, I would ask that if you ever want to donate to ACTS, please go online and vet it. I'll give you just a quick example. If you bring us a 50-pound bag of rice, we can do nothing with it because we give out food in family sizes. So make sure that you're educated about how to donate to us before you donate. We have space food in our Hunger Prevention Center that people have donated. We can't use it. So please educate yourself about the proper way to donate. And then last, this past fall, every year we have our Walk event, which is one of our major fundraisers. That is a 5K walk run. So we would encourage you as a city, as a governing body, to participate in that. It's already scheduled for October 18th, 2025. So if that's something you want to do as a team building activity for the governing body, we would encourage you to do that. This just speaks to the walk last year. And with that, certainly spread the word. Thank you again for having me this evening, and I'm happy to respond to any questions you might have.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and thank you for the service that you provide for our community.
Thank you.
Questions, comments?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for the presentation. Very enlightening. You guys are doing fantastic work, and thank you for that. I'm just, a question about their funding. I understand donations is a part of that. But what is, I'm just curious as to other types of funding, money that the county is giving, federal grants, and are you having any problems right now with federal grants?
That's a loaded question.
I like loaded questions. It's my specialty.
Yeah, well, so to be quite honest with you, our funding is largely grants
Okay.
and largely individual donations. And like most of you, you saw the news of the last couple of weeks about some freezing on funds. We were concerned about that. Fortunately, we're okay right now, but we do get some federal dollars, particularly from the Housing and Urban Development related to housing. And so if that money is frozen, particularly in the middle of a fiscal year, it puts us in jeopardy in terms of how we can continue to support our clients. So about 2/3 of our funding comes from grants, either state, local, or federal. Oftentimes, it is money that passes through the county then to us. So that's a huge source of income for us, quite honestly. And the rest of it is just the generosity of citizens primarily. I am involved, to answer your question about problems. I think private donations are down post-COVID. We are living in an era of high inflation. The other thing I will tell you about funding is people typically give in October, November, and December, and they stop giving in January. There is something called a neighborhood association grant, or a neighborhood assistance program grant, called the NAP credit. What the NAP credit is if you give to an organization that serves the high poverty communities, you can get a 50% return on your when you file your taxes on that donation, as long as that donation is at least $600 or more. My brother made one of those donations last year.
All right.
I had no influence on that, obviously, but he made one of those donations last year. So the best way to give is to give in a way that you get a tax credit for it. So if you're interested in that, I'm happy to share that kind of information.
But I'm also curious, Mr. Jones, do the municipalities that you serve, Prince William County, Manassas Park, do they make any direct contributions to you?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Prince William County makes a significant donation to us every year. Manassas City makes a direct donation to us. I'm going to be speaking to the town of Dumfries in the next few months. You may not know this, where we're located, the mayor's business, the mayor has a barbecue business in Dumfries. His business is right at our front entrance. So obviously I have talked to the mayor of the town of Dumfries. And you also know the casino and resort is there in Dumfries. I tend to sleep and dream money when it comes to running a nonprofit. So if you're in a position to make a donation, we would happily accept that. But yeah, if localities, we're serving the localities, citizens, and we also serve all of Prince William County, primarily the eastern part of the county, but we have clients all over the county.
Thank you, sir.
Sure thing.
Appreciate your service.
Sure.
He took my question. Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. I don't have a question, but I appreciate what your organization does and the outreach it does, so thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones, thank you for the presentation and service. I do have a couple of questions. Your food pantries, you mentioned you have 2. Where are they located?
We only have one.
One, okay.
And it's located in Dumfries.
Okay.
It's open 4 days a week. It's open Monday through Thursday.
Okay.
We were open through Fridays, but there was such a demand. My biggest concern, as someone who works in a nonprofit, is work-life balance. We all struggle with that.
For sure.
But for our client, since we're serving people that have significant needs, I want to make sure that I'm able to give my staff balance. So we started closing on Fridays in September, just to give our staff balance. But we're located in Dumfries. I will share this with you. We have the infrastructure to provide lots of food to lots of people. And often what happens is we get calls and people will ask them to give money to food to a church. We don't want to do that.
Right.
Because we have the infrastructure to do that very, very, very well. And so selfishly, we want to do well what we can do well.
So how do most Manassas Park citizens know about your services? How do they come to you?
Yeah.
Because our schools offer a program called Care Solace for all of our citizens, and sometimes they just refer out or just kind of put people in touch with the organizations they need to be in touch with to receive those services. So how do they get to you?
So our community educators participate in lots of community events, including with the local school systems.
Okay.
Probably the best way is just to go to our website. Let me just be honest about the website. It's something we just changed. It was a little antiquated, so we launched a new website at the very beginning of this year. And one of the, if you know anything about website design, one of the things you know about website design is there's something called SEO, search engine optimization.
Yeah.
We weren't using that very well, so the goal there is how do we get on someone's feed, their social media feed? So how do they learn about us that way? And so, this, again, what I would say to you is we weren't not doing that very well because we don't have the infrastructure and we had not made that investment. We've since made that investment, and what we're seeing is looking at social media, we're beginning to see a lot more pings with people that are learning about apps.
So most Manassas
But-
Park residents come to you through internet searches and
All
things like
kinds
that?
of ways. They've
Okay.
heard it through a community educator. They call, like if you go to Prince William County, and
Okay.
you look for housing, we pop up. You look
Okay.
for domestic violence, we pop up. You look
Okay.
for sexual assault, we pop up.
Okay.
So we are partners. We are considered a continuum of care partner with Prince William County. So that gets the word out about the services that we provide.
Okay.
But the bottom line is that we don't have we can never do enough. We can never get in front of enough people, if I'm gonna be honest with you. So we use every means we can to inform the public, including you inviting me here tonight, about what we do.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, really, for having me this evening.
Thank you for answering.
Sure.
One final request. You had a slide deck there that had Manassas Park statistics specifically. That's not part of our agenda packet. Could you share that one slide with us that has the Manassas Park statistics?
I've shared it with you. I sent it yesterday,
Very good.
the day before.
Okay.
Actually, I found an error on it, and we corrected that today. So, by the way, I got to say this too. Sarah Burnett Sarah's my classmate. We're in leadership, Prince William, class of 25, the greatest class of leadership.
That's great.
And also your deputy city manager, I had an opportunity to meet with. And I had an opportunity to congratulate your new city manager. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
But we're your partners, so if you need something, call us. Like I said, we're going to be meeting with your police department this coming Thursday.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Events on the Plaza 2025. Hello, Melissa Williams.
If I may just kind of set the stage, but so a while back, the governing body requested just to know, events in advance for the year.
Yes.
And this is what that is. This is a rolling list, so we'll come back every so often. As things fall up, things get added, whether by committee or by staff. So we'll kind of come back to you. This is a rolling list, a living document. So.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Governing Body members, and our City of Manassas manager. We're going to talk about events on the Plaza for 2025, and I'm going to make this as short as possible. The agenda will be the farmers market, last Friday's carriage rides in the park, the night market, seasonal events, and then, of course, the closing. So we got the farmers market. Last year, we ran into a few things of people confusing City of Manassas with Manassas Park, so I ended up changing it to Park Central Farmers Market at Manassas Park, since we are Park Central, so that people didn't get confused. That would alleviate a lot of that. I put it online. People pretty much enjoyed it. They liked it, so I was glad that it was accepted. So it's located in City Hall parking lot, as it was last year. It starts April 12th. It'll go until November 22nd. The hours will be 8 a.m. till probably noon, not so much 1, because a lot of the vendors have gotten back to me and stated there's just nobody coming through at 1. So we'll probably shorten that until noon. Last year in 2024, first time for the farmers market on Saturday, had 36,058 people come through it. Clayton with Placer AI did give me these numbers. So these are about accurate with pinging off of the mobile phones. So we had 36,058 people come through. For a new market, very well. Workout Wednesdays, again, those usually coincide with our farmers market. So April through October, we're moving this to the evening. This is a request from your community. They wanted to see it in the evening, so got with the instructors, got with Jay, and we're working it out so it can be in the evening so we can get more participants. We did have quite a few participants, but a best day would be about 18 people. Well, if it was too cold, we would have about 8, so not too bad either. Last Fridays, those start in April, God willing, no rain. I have them all labeled out onto the website as to what we've got going. We've got a lot, some line dancing that was well received last year. We will have it back this year. People did like the Tiki Fire show, so we will have that back this year. And of course, some new things. Basically something with some people from the Renaissance Fair that I know will come down. So last year's 2024 numbers in total for the last Fridays came out. It was 14,157 people. Not bad also for something that's relatively a year and a half old. Not too bad. It's been growing as we did events. So I was pleased with those numbers also for something that's new. We have carriage rides in the park. This was well received when we did it this year. It's not a difficult thing. Shenandoah Carriage Rides is somebody that I've worked with over at my other job. So those are going to be November 16th and the 23rd. It was from 1 to 4 p.m. So the numbers there was about 208 in total. The lines were long. They actually had to turn people away because they have to cut it off at a certain time so that they end at 4. The horses can only do so many hours. So people loved it. They said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Every one of them enjoyed it. So we'll do it again this year. And then we have our night market, also well received by people. They enjoyed it. Majority food this year, not so much the other vendors. The time has changed. We were discussing that. We're going to make it from 1 to 8 p.m. It's on Sundays because we want to catch that lunch after church and dinner for the people who are just running around getting prepared for the week. We'd rather kind of catch them. So the location will be in the Plaza until it does have to be moved when the restaurants come in. Last year's numbers totaled a little over 16,000 people for all the night markets that we had, which was generally 2 a month. So not bad either. So people are actually liking it for the events. Then you have your seasonal events. We do have the Black Excellent Expo on Saturday. We were going to have the food trucks on the plaza, but we've got rain, sleet, and snow. There is a reason for me postponing that, and that has to do with bringing a lot of food trucks from DC and Alexandria. I don't want to bring them down here because it takes $500 for each truck to roll out, and they expect to make 4 times that. So if I bring them out here where the attendance is going to be low, we ruin the relationship with them for coming back. I'd rather save the relationship, postpone the event for a better day. So we also have on 19th of April, Community Day. Yvette Mooney is going to kind of coincide that, not calling it Easter, but there will be a bunny and some activities for that because she found out it's on that weekend. So we just collaborated and decided to make it a little bit of both. We have the July 5th celebration. Still working on that, working with Yesy to get a Latino band and One Hot Mess to come out. And then we're working with some breweries, wineries, and distilleries to possibly do a tasting, selling tickets to that. So they'll have to have a band and everything like that. Then we got the Halloween event coming up on October, along with a lot of other stuff going on in October with the 50th, and the Dickens Holiday Market and Light Parade. I did move the Dickens Holiday Market to coincide with the Light Parade and the viewing on the plaza for a very particular reason. A lot of people are pretty much seasoned out. They're evented out. So I figured if we do it earlier in the morning, I'm used to working 16-hour days. It doesn't bother me. It's a coinciding event. So it just flows from one into the other. So I figured we have that in the morning time, go right into the viewing on the Plaza, parade, viewing on the Plaza, and we're done for the rest of the season. And that's pretty much it. So I'm ready to get to work.
Excellent, thank you. I look forward to all of that.
You're welcome.
Questions, we'll start on this side.
Anyone?
I just want to say, Melissa, thank you so much for your dedication. I see you out in the community at these events. You're there, you're present, so thank you for your dedication. I guess we have one particular question about the night market. Were there some months that were better than others? Because I know you gave us a kind of a grand total as far as what the numbers were, about 14,000. Were there some that were just
Yes.
really, really great, and then some that weren't?
Yeah, weather induced.
Yeah.
When it rained, people just took off, like they were going to melt.
for sure.
So, yeah, they took off. They would be in line, they would get their food, and then they would leave. And it would, be gone. And even if the rain was just coming through, and then it stopped raining afterward, they're all gone.
Yeah.
And then you would just get like a few people coming through. So, in doing the events and stuff like this, especially with food vendors, you're always trying to keep in mind that you need enough people coming through to get them to come back, because they won't come back if they don't get their costs back, at least break even. They're not going to come back. It's difficult. So you always try to weather around the weather, but Mother Nature was quite nasty last year. So yeah, she did ping us quite a few times with weather. So there was some that weren't due to the weather more than anything else. It wasn't lack of food or anything like that. It was weather that was causing us, because we always had a lot of food. It was just weather.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you do. I don't have
Yeah.
any questions, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all the events you've created. They've been, to me, awesome. Sometimes I can't attend because I have events going on too, but I love to see them in pictures afterwards. The night market. You said that if the restaurants open up, where would you move it to?
Well, the thing is with the restaurants opening up, it can still be on the Plaza Road. We're just going to include the two restaurants. I don't know when La Finca is open. I know Girani's is pretty much probably going to open this year. And AA Steakhouse will be open, so we're just going to have to include them in that, is the plan, is to include them in it. So with Girani's doing, if Girani's is anything like it is over at City of Manassas, if they're going to have those, open mics and poetry nights and stuff like that here, it would be nice to have them be, partner with it and include it, so that they have something to do. So we'll just include them all in it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Comments, questions?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Melissa, for the excellent work that you've done. I really enjoy the farmers markets.
Thank you.
And all the other events that you've planned in our city. The question I have is about sponsorships. We had gotten a presentation some time back about the city trying to reach out and bring in more sponsors to help subsidize our events. Have we been very successful in identifying any sponsors for our markets or other activities that we
So we will work harder this year on getting sponsors. Because we were half a year, the first year that I was here in 2023, and we had a whole full year of me being able to get enough information and data for sponsors, we can go after them now with that. So we've done enough work to be able to go after sponsors because we have data for them. We have proof that they are operating and that it would be something for them to invest in.
Yeah.
Yep.
For new markets, the numbers look very impressive.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for your hard work. And
Thank you.
efforts. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Melissa. Do the vendors in all these events, what is their fee to participate?
So each event is a different fee. The farmer's market right now is $200. It's low because we're just trying to build it. As we get more people knowing it and coming to it, when the numbers increase, the fee will increase because the vendors will want to be a part of it regardless. They're not going to be upset at paying a fee for a low attendance. With the other events, also the same thing. It's just that everything is flat new. So I keep the fees down, but it covers as much as it covers. So I try to keep the fees down to get the people in, and then with the increasing happening, as soon as people are just like, yeah, I want to be about that. I want to be there. Like for Halloween, people are already asking. So I can increase the fee this year for Halloween.
Well, say like the farmer's market,
Mhm.
The vendors come in, they're paying the fee. What's the city's expense? What would our expense be for just the farmer's market?
You mean how much does it cost to run it?
Right.
So we've already got our signs, so that's already been paid for last year. Last year, it was about $19,000, almost $20,000 that the farmer's market made. And that went into the special events category with Parks and Rec. In that special events category, I would reach out to Jay when we needed a generator so that I could buy that, and when I needed anything else like the flyers, is basically the flyers. I would say in all outside of our market manager's fees, we probably spent a little over $3,000, which was covered by the fees. Yeah.
That's not much. Okay, I'm just trying to see, I mean, we want to attract more vendors and
Yes.
different type of vendors, so keeping the costs kind of low to initially attract them is a plus.
Right.
So if the cost is very minimal for the city, I think that's a great idea to keep it low. Thank you, that's all I had.
Okay, sure.
I just have one question. Has there been any thought to a kids market?
So this year, we had a kids market. I have a kids farmers market that reached out to us. That's in DC. So we're partnering with them this year. They will come out a couple of times during the spring and summer. Right now, she's getting the kids market together. We also work with 4-H, which is also kids entrepreneuring, and they came to our market last year. Well received also. So yeah, I do reach out to kids. I do, want to support them, and the market is a great way to support them doing their entrepreneurship. So
Great.
yeah,
Thanks so much.
you're welcome.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
All right, we are on to consent agenda. The motions are that the governing body appoint Councilmember Yesy Amaya to serve on the Social Services Advisory Board for a term to expire on December 31st, 2028. And that the governing body recommend that the Prince William Circuit Court reappoint Rick Garrett to serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals for a 5-year term to expire on March 31st, 2035. And that the governing body approve changes to the Manassas Park City Library policies to include requirements for parents, legal guardians to access their minors' library records, change closing time age restrictions, update equipment available for use by library card holders, and update information to match system requirements and processes respectively as presented and subject to final city attorney review. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Mayor, if I could just say one real quick thing, please.
Yep.
I think the date for the appointment to the BZA was 2030, not 2035. Five-year
Right,
term.
yep. I read something that does not agree with math. Okay, should we amend the motion then, Dean? Or do
I
I-
don't know whoever made the motion.
Yeah, I'll amend the motion to say March 31st, 2030.
2030.
Oh, it says 3030 out here.
This is 30.
I know, let's do 2030.
Yeah, that's a long time, a whole century.
What's he eating?
To March 31st, 2030.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay. Next up, unfinished business, purchase and sale agreement for the sale of Parcel B-2a Connor Center. Dean?
Yes, I'll
I
start.
thought Steve was going to say something.
Hey, Dean, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board. So last week, we had the public hearing on this topic, and this week, subject to your vote. But really quickly, pending your vote, staff is working concurrently with our bond counsel and financial advisor, because there are so many things that have to happen sequentially to get this deal through in a short amount of time. And so we received the bond paperwork today, the financing paperwork today, and we are reviewing it. But this topic is just back for your vote tonight, pending your vote, that we can start the other pieces to keep things going. Right now, if everything goes according to the schedule, we're hoping to close on the bond come April, and then again, subject to your vote tonight. I'll turn it over to Dean.
Thanks, Steve. If you approve this tonight, we're going to try to close on the property component this week, probably Thursday. And I also want to say, for some reason, the two pieces of this agenda item got pulled apart. So the resolution that I'm asking you to approve is found on page 62, and the deed that's supposed to be attached to it is found on page 71. And the page 71 is not numbered as page 71, so I don't know what's going on with this, but it's exactly the same as what was in the agenda last week, though. We haven't made any changes to that, so if that helps.
Okay. Any final questions? Start down with Councilmember Jabin. Questions? comments?
For A or B or both?
A, just A right now.
No questions for A.
Yeah, no questions.
No question.
Okay. The motion is that the governing body approve and adopt a resolution that approves the sale of Parcel B-2a Connor Center, Blooms Court, to Manassas Park Cinema LLC, and authorizes the mayor to sign a special warranty deed for the sale of the property and have the same recorded among the land records of Prince William County, Virginia, as presented and subject to final city attorney review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. On to next, Resolution 25-1000, sale of property C100B.
Good evening. So I'll kind of set the stage again before I turn over to Dean. There is one change to this, and Dean will explain it to you all. So if you remember last week, I briefed that Northfield approached us with a deal to purchase the city parcel, which is the small 3.5 acre parcel along Manassas Drive, on which half of that, about roughly 1.5 parcel, Northfield was going to build 38 units. And then the Christian school, or the former Christian school lot, which is the bigger lot, Northfield was going to build roughly 175 units for a total of 213. The proposed sale price to the city is $8 million, with 4.2 mil at closing, and 3.8 on sort of a tranche basis as units get certificate of occupancy. This week, Northfield came back to us and said that for the 3.8, unfortunately, when you get a lot of financing from a lender, they like to get priority lien. That would make the city, secondary lien. Now, will we get that money at some point when it's built? Yes, but obviously, as a secondary lien holder, there's a little bit of market risk in the event that the market completely tanks on the, in terms of housing. And really, the window that would happen would be about the time of construction, right? If they're building it, let's say it's about 12 to 18 months, that's really the window of risk when you're a secondary lien holder. And so, as part of negotiation, we came back to Northfield and asked for a higher price up point. So instead of 4.2, it's a $5 million fund for the 38 units that we were going to let them build on our parcel, and then the $3 million as a secondary lien. And so that's the small change. And now I'll turn over to Dean to go over the legal mechanism.
Yeah, and thank you, Keith, for explaining that. Yeah, we ran into a problem because you'll notice on the red line version that I uploaded, or that was uploaded, on page 2 of the purchase and sale agreement, they deleted the first lien, that the deed of trust be a first lien, and that would be a priority lien, this is by preference. But I do understand that they won't be able to get financing if we have a priority lien, and that's why Carl and Keith agreed to change it to 5 and 3 instead of 4.2 and 3.8. And you'll see down on page 2 there at the bottom of subsection 2B, it explains there that it'll be a first or second lien deed of trust. So it'll probably be a second lien deed of trust. And so we will have second line, we'll be in second in line to whatever bank. Most of the other changes done in here were just, were not substantive. They were just kind of clean things up. So, I don't really have much there except the exhibits that were added to it. So remember last week at the public hearing, I explained that we were still working on the deed of trust and then the partial release of the deed of trust. Those have been added as exhibits. I also have the exhibit showing the the area that's going to be a conservation easement. If you want me to take control real quick, and I can show that to you if
Yeah.
you want. If you don't, that's fine. You do? Okay.
Yeah, if you could show
Go
that,
ahead
that'd
and
be great.
take control. Let's see. All right, so I don't know if you can see this or not, but
No.
maybe a little bit bigger here.
One second.
No.
Give us 1 second, guys.
No, we don't see anything. Hold on.
Oh, well, let's see, maybe see if I can make it even bigger.
Oh,
There it is.
Well,
There we go.
oh,
1 second, guys.
second. It was there. Pull it to your other screen.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Let me
Okay, thank
see if I can, let me try and change it to let me stop sharing and try it again, see if it'll work
There
this
it
time.
is. Nope, now it's not.
All right, so one last time, let's see if this works.
Yes.
There we go.
Perfect, thank you.
Hopefully that's going to hold there.
That's
Okay,
great.
so you can see there along Manassas Drive, there's a tree save area. It's a conservation easement. You can see the existing trees that'll shield the area largely, much like to the right there, right south of, or it's actually east, but below Silver Meteor Court there and on the map. You can see how you have trees there as well, so it should protect the view at least, or screen the view. And then, so that was the big thing that we had to add, and they didn't have an exhibit ready by the time of publication, so that's why we had to upload it a little bit later. I can go through, I can also show you the purchase and sale agreement and all the changes there if you want, but they're available online, and hopefully you had a chance to at least look at them.
Okay.
If not, I can go through it with you.
No, I think we've all looked them over on our own, and they're online.
Okay.
All right, anything else,
Do
Dean?
you have any questions?
No, let's see.
No, this would be again, approving as a resolution, and I think we're going to start doing it by resolution. We haven't in the past, but this helps us considerably when it comes to closing on the property, because the title companies like it. So that's why we're doing it a little bit differently now, in case you're wondering.
Okay. We'll start by Councilmember Cyberling. Any question? No. Question?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not gonna support this purchase agreement. My understanding, at first, I thought this was development only on the Christian school part of the lot initially, and then the fact that they're expanding out to now city-owned property and going into a buffer area that I'm not in favor of is the reason I'm not going to support the city portion of this purchase. With that said, I think it's going to be too dense what they're proposing in that area, and without proper information on traffic study or anything like that, I know which will be done later on, but I just don't understand how we could agree to something to purchase and give away without that information before us today. Lastly, I would say is that, Dean, I guess if once this gets approved, will we have to rezone this parcel?
Yeah, this will come back for a rezoning, and I believe that there's going to be a submission in the not too distant future, and that the applicant will also do concurrent processing, which means the site plan will get reviewed at the same time as the rezoning is going through. That speeded up. When I spoke to him, he said that he was looking to try to close on this sometime in the summer. So this should be a relatively quick process, hopefully getting before you at least. So you're absolutely right, though, as far as a lot of the details that'll come at zoning. The traffic impact analysis will also, if deemed warranted, will then also be required for zoning.
Where is it currently zoned right now?
I do not know off the top of my head. I know it's just passive use right now. It's probably zoned as public use.
Okay, and then do we know that
exact zoning district is, but
also for the Christian lot, is that residential use, or that would have to be?
Well, it might be it's probably planned unit development if it's anything, because that whole area is PUD. And that's a permitted use within the PUD, so I would imagine that's what it is.
Okay, yeah, just, I think those were my only comments and concerns with this purchase sale agreement. Wait, one more question. The stormwater analysis, would that be done during the zoning process too, I guess? Or the site plan?
Yeah, all that
Site
stuff's
plan.
done then.
Yeah,
Yeah, site plan, I'm sorry, yes.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
I did want to make one comment, though. This, the area that, the 3 acres that the city owns, it was part of the annexation agreement with Prince William County. We're going to have to go and just let them know what we're doing. So there is a caveat within the purchase and sale agreement that they acknowledge that. I don't think it'll be a problem, but that's just one extra step we're going to have to do.
Got it. All right, that's all my questions for now. Thank you, Dean. Yep.
All right, thank you.
Anything else? All right, the motion is that the governing body approve and adopt a resolution that approves the sale of parcel C-100B, Bloom's Crossing, to Manassas Drive 1 LLC, and authorizes the mayor to sign a purchase and sale agreement is substantially in the form attached to the resolution and special warranty deed and other documents attached to the purchase and sale agreement as exhibits or otherwise required for the sale of the property, or as stated in the purchase and sale agreement, and have the same recorded among the land records of Prince William County, Virginia, if required, and presented and subject to final city attorney review. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
One opposed.
Abstain? Motion carries. All right, on to new business. Rugby Road updated design and task order. Hello, Alan.
Good evening. It's good to be here tonight to talk to you about the proposed update to the design of the Rugby Road Yard. By way of background, the city owns a storage yard on Rugby Road that we use to stockpile bulk materials such as gravel and cold mix for potholes. We also store waste materials for disposal such as excavation spoils and brush. Bowman Engineering had designed and upgraded the storage facility, including pavement, concrete storage bins that are covered with a roof, and a structural BMP to provide for water quality. What we hadn't considered when we were developing the scope of work was that we don't really have good storage area for materials to make repairs to our water system. Normally, that's not a big problem because there are places we can get materials from. But the Hurricane Helene kind of highlighted one of the problems with approaching having materials on hand by getting them locally, because when there's a regional problem, there are often problems getting labor, equipment, and materials. Our public works crews are skilled and they can do the work, and we have most of the equipment we would need, but in a widespread emergency, getting materials can be tricky. Now, what had happened with Hurricane Helene, I had just been in Asheville just before it hit, but after 4 days, they had their water treatment plant up and running, but they still couldn't distribute water to large parts of the community because water mains had been washed out, especially at roadways. We have identified 12 places in the city where water lines cross streams. So part of our thinking was to have a modular building added to the site to store extra water pipes, valves, and other accoutrements to be able to make emergency repairs, to have materials on hand if, God forbid, we should need them. Bowman Engineering had performed the original design, so we requested a proposal from them, and the proposal included a modular building and pre-construction services for a total of $20,783.25. That included contingencies and reimbursables. We also have some optional building design services and construction management services up to $32,072.27. The proposed task order will be for a total amount not to exceed $52,855.53. Are there any questions?
Great. Thanks for coming out. I think this is you're never too prepared for something like this. Let's start with questions down here. Councilmember Javed?
No questions, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the presentation. I just had clarification on this amendment, this change. It's in the budget, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's just thank you. That was my question.
Okay, thank you.
Questions on this side?
That was my question.
Okay.
That's what was in the budget. Thanks, Sarah.
Absolutely.
All right, staff
Great
recommendation.
minds.
Staff recommendation is that the governing body approve and authorize the city manager to sign task order number 2024-18 for a total amount not to exceed $52,855.53 as presented and subject to final city attorney review.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. All right, next up, we have discussion around the increase in city manager spending authority to $250,000, led by Mr. Carrera.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. I appreciate that. As you know, we brought this up, or I brought this up about almost 2 years ago, to look at what best practices were being done around surrounding jurisdictions throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. And in looking at that, the presentation at that time, we were only doing 25,000. A lot of jurisdictions were anywhere from 200 up to budget items with a similar population. So I wanted to bring this today for discussion to see, to give the authority to look and review it and actually streamline it, because we already look at this, a lot of these projects through CIP. They're presented in the planning commission and they come to the council and we vote on. Same thing with the budgeted item, they come, we present it, it's presented, and we vote on it and it's reviewed, that piece. So I've looked at some of the other jurisdictions, and if you look at the city of Manassas, the city manager has whatever is the budget item approval to go ahead. In the city of, and it allows the DMF director to even do the direct up to $250,000. If City of Fairfax has a similar, and then $200,000 on small procurement. You see it in rural counties around the Commonwealth of Virginia, where it's kind of about $250,000 for a similar population. I'm not saying we need to go to $250,000, but anywhere from $200, $250, maybe $150, with the guidances of the governing body. But I think it's best practice to mimic what is actually done around surrounding jurisdictions. And Mr. Manager, I know you brought some other additional information today, but you, in your experience as a city manager in the state of Washington, what has been the common, for spending authority throughout what you've seen in your career?
It's fairly common that anything that's already been approved in the budget, as long as it doesn't go beyond that by some percentage, like 5%, then the city manager has the approval to, or the authority to approve it. For things not in the budget, my last job, my spending authority was $300,000. My commitment to the council at that time was anytime I approved anything between $50,000 and $300,000, I would report it at the meeting following when the expense was incurred. And then, of course, $300,000 above had to go in front of the council.
So, and I know what this does, it also streamlines the process. So what it is we're not really the stakeholders on every piece when we already reviewed it. There still allows the director of finance to review it, the stakeholder in the department, the city attorney, and the city manager to review it and go ahead. And again, if anything is above that piece, we do it. I know part of the motion that was done in 2023, we had to place any contract on the city website within, I don't know if I remember, it was 7 or 10 business days. I know there's a concern about sole source. Mr. Crowher, city attorney, what are your thoughts?
On which one? So the sole source, or the amount, or which one?
A mixture of both. Just what you found out about spending authority, and then the sole source, just explaining what that actually, how that functions within our, and what the state allows.
Well, so the sole source, and I understand there's some concern about that, and I think it's probably appropriate for sole source to always come before the governing body. So that probably needs to get excluded, because it is something where we have to state in writing that there's a need for that. So it's not something that you just do and hide it. So we have to put that out on the website and also at EBA. So as far as the spending authority, right now we have maximized the amount for small procurement that's allowed under state law at $200,000 for services and goods. Now we haven't gone up to $300,000 for the transportation, but that is allowed. And there's a cap at $80,000 for professional services. If you want to line that up with what's allowed for small procurement, I think that would be appropriate, because obviously the state has felt that that's the amount that doesn't need to go out for IFBs or RFPs. So that realistically could be the city manager's authority as well. So it would also eliminate the confusion that a lot of people have between the differences between the two.
So my purpose is to bring this to probably look at either going to 200,000 spending authority Just, thoughts about this, from the council members and the city manager.
And just to clarify, this is on items that are already approved in the budget.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And this my goal is if we do move forward with this would be brought next time, and then we would have this effective July 1st going forward.
Okay. All right, we'll start with questions, comments down here.
So we'd spoken earlier, and so I'll just kind of reiterate that in an ideal world, I would totally agree, 300,000. In fact, it wouldn't really matter necessarily if we were more transparent with the contracts and the vendors and the amounts that we already have in place. So you'll see many jurisdictions that have the higher approving authority have online searchable databases with the vendors, the amounts, the contracts, everything's clickable. You can open up the contract. Right now, when I asked and I came here and I said, Dean, can you show me or tell me what contracts we have, what vendors are we working with? And he said, well, it's in the meeting minutes for city council. So if I were to click open the meeting minutes, which is a lot, and then sort through and try to find the vendors and the amounts and the contracts, that's very cumbersome. So I feel like the authority, the spending authority, or to approve that is not substantiated by the transparency that we have currently. Now, if that changes, I'm definitely in support of it. I think it's fine. I think we hamstring ourselves a little bit having to review every little thing, but right now, the city council meeting minutes are being utilized in such a way that's really not appropriate.
I agree with Stacy, Councilmember Seibering, that I think we do need to have that transparency first before we move it up, because we just recently went from 25 to 100,000, and I don't know, I haven't checked, but I don't know if things are being posted so that the public can actually see what the money is being spent on, even though it's been previously approved. So I would like to see, I guess, what you're bringing to the table to see if it's something that's doable before we can make a decision.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Councilmember Carrera for bringing this to the table. I think this does add to the efficiency of the council and our working and the authority of our city manager. I mean, as the mayor stated, it's everything that's already been approved by our budget. So I support the concept, but there's some amendments that have to be made in order for me to vote for this next week. And I appreciate Councilmember Cyber that I agree with you. The transparency is important. When this council moved from 25,000 to 100,000, the resolution stated that there'd be a website where people could go to the community to see all the contracts that the city manager has approved under this change in authority. I had assumed that website had been created and that it's there, and it is. I assume that if Keith could talk to that?
Yes, sir. So the website is created. Is it user-friendly? It could be better, but the website was created, I think, when you all requested that such a website created, and we were posting everything, I think, above 25,000 was the threshold. The contract and then the vendor, the actual, contract document, et cetera. So I can send the link to you all again. I think, and I'll defer to Mr. Cole, we could probably improve on that by making it more searchable. We do have Power BI, and so we can find a way to import the data to Power BI and a public dashboard, import an Excel file and create a public dashboard that may be more user-friendly. But we did create the website. I can forward you the link.
Well, what would be helpful, Ms. Nguyen, is besides just forwarding the link, which would be helpful, but at our next meeting when we're scheduled to vote on this, that someone stand up there at the computer and show us and walk us through the link and pull it up so that our audience and residents could see and make it a little bit more user-friendly. So that's good to hear that we have it, and hopefully it's up to date and all that kind of good stuff. The other concern I have is sole source contracts, as Dean has pointed out. I don't think any sole source contract should happen without council review and authority for. So I would hope that the resolution would be amended in such a way that it would prohibit any sole source from being approved going forward. And I also appreciate Councilmember Carrera's start date of July 1st, which is the beginning of our fiscal year. That makes sense. And with those amendments, I'd be happy to support the 200,000 authority for our city manager for those items that have been approved. Thank you.
I'm in favor of the increase. I don't know about 250, I said over 200. I think it gives the city manager operational flexibility in operating the budget more effectively and efficiently. And then, it also gives allows the city manager to address emergencies in a short notice without approval from the council. I mean, we have main water breaks almost every month.
That wasn't a part of this.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that's been budgeted and approved.
Oh, budget and approved, I
Yeah,
see.
that's-
Okay, well, I mean, I'm still okay with, because I think it just gives the city manager,
Well, water
Now
breaks
you're
are
rigging it.
budgeted. You have maintenance.
well, that's what I'm saying, I
Budgeted.
thought they would be budgeted.
They are budgeted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it, something else happened, like some severe, that's not what, because this building fell apart.
Yeah, well,
Unfortunately,
yeah, but if it's like anything like, okay, if it is budgeted to water breaks, I mean, it will give the city manager flexibility to act,
yeah.
in an urgency manner. But yeah, it's just efficiency in the decision making, and it's important for long-term planning as well. If these items are already budgeted, then he can allocate the budget, and it aligns alongside with those long-term goals. So I don't mind the increase, but 250, I think is maybe a little high. We could start at 200.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So on our next regular meeting, there's the 25th. So we'll talk about,
Okay.
next week, we're just appointing people.
For 200K?
200K.
So you want me to prepare?
Yes.
Yes, for the 25th, February 25th, please.
Thank you.
And we will also get the demonstration of the website. Okay?
So there's two pieces to this. So do you want to amend, so there's a city code that needs to be amended for purchase orders and change orders. Do you want to make that a part of this as well? And then the second piece is the resolution for approval and signing of agreements. So there's kind of a couple different pieces here. We could roll it all into just one in the city code if you'd like. It would make it a little bit less confusing. But how would you like me to approach this? And then also, it's a $200,000 cap. Would that be a $200,000 cap on the purchase orders and change orders, or just the agreements? And then what do we do about professional services, which is capped under small procurement at $80,000, but if we do an RFP or an IFP, we can actually increase that up to the $200,000. So probably a little bit of, maybe think about it, and maybe email me exactly what you want to have done. I can send you some options via email.
Yes.
Dean, I appreciate those distinctions. I was not buying into the change order piece of this. This was whole contracts. I mean, for example, tonight Alan came before us with a $52,000 change order, which in our current policy, the city manager has $100,000 authority, but I still think change orders should come to this council.
I agree. This is only that's budgeted.
Well, okay, I want
That's
the
absolute.
city attorney to
Yeah.
realize that,
Yeah.
that we're just talking about new contracts and not change orders.
Anything that's budgeted, you're correct.
Right.
Do you want to amend the city code then to get rid of that authority?
Well, can we see it in writing, if you want to send that over?
Yeah, could you send the email with your different options and scenarios?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, so that, like I said, it might make it easier to put it all in one place in
Yeah.
the city code.
Sure.
So it's not confusing.
Okay.
And then that could specify the authority for change orders. Obviously, a change order cannot, if there was a contract for a small procurement that was say you gave him a $200,000 authority, and we had a contract for say $150,000 in small procurement, and he had a $100,000 change order authority, he could not approve a $100,000 change order because that would take the small procurement contract over the $200,000 limit, because you have to look at it as a totality. So if there's any concern there, you would still have to see something like that with that large of a change order. So maybe that'll make a little bit of difference in how you want to handle this.
I guess my point was, for example, tonight with Alan and the $52,000 change order for the Rugby Road, I think it's great that that came to council for our review and vote. So I don't want to give the city manager any more authority as far as change orders. than he currently has, and so I'd like to keep that the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think Councilmember Carrera agrees,
Yeah. I
and the rest of
agree
the
as
council
well.
and the mayor.
Yeah, so not for change orders.
Okay, so change orders stay the same. We're just going to change the code section to add in the approval authority for contracts up to $200,000. And then I'll give you the other options as far as professional services and such, so you can let me know how you want it done.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay.
That's great. And this will come back up February
All right, thank you.
25th.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dean. All right, and now we have the new item 11C, which is, what is it? Prince William Health District.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was me, right?
Yeah.
What was I talking about there? Oh, yes, okay. So I guess this will be a question for finance or the budget. My understanding was that a couple years ago, we were paying probably less than 60,000, then they were up to 65,000, and then now 2 years later, now it's almost 90,000. With the contract, and Dean, if you might correct me if I'm wrong, there is a 3% built in there every year by year, but if anything above that is assumed to be an operational cost, which they're supposed to break that down to what the increase is and send that over to the city. So the reason I took this out was because I do not see that here today of why the increase is going year over year above the 3% inflation rate without any explanation from either the VHD or Prince William County.
This was almost 8%, 7-8%.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I kind of took this out. I don't know if there's an explanation from the city end or what it is, or if we could get some answers from VHD or county. But that was my concern, and I wanted to kind of discuss about that.
Well, I can't say real quick that this is an agreement by itself. So it's not, it can be extended year to year, but every year they give us a new one, which technically starts the whole thing over again. So when you sign it, this isn't an amendment or an extension, this is an actual agreement.
Right, so
the terms kind of stand by themselves.
So, are they going to give us a breakdown of what these costs are going to for transparency purposes? I mean, the 90,000 versus the 60,000. I mean, if they hired a new staff member, is that why the prices keep going up? I mean, there's got to be some type of explanation in these contracts that this is the price, the new contract with this price, and to justify that price.
I'm sure we can get an explanation, but there's not one in here, as you point out.
Right, exactly. So that was my concern.
You want to push this until we can get an explanation back to you?
I mean, I don't know how the other governing body feels. That was my reason for this discussion.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I think just 2 years ago, our cost was literally 65,000, 2023, and it literally jumped up to almost 90,000. So, I mean, I just got.
In the past, they've come in and explained or talked about this document in person.
Right, but, so.
Yeah.
Okay, could we invite them to come out and?
Yeah, I'll reach out to them. We brought this forward because it's super late.
Yeah.
They've been providing the services sort of in goodwill, but I don't see a problem waiting a little bit longer. I wasn't aware of any agreement on an inflator or anything like that. I just looked at the agreement as it was, and
Sure.
so.
Okay.
But I can ask.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks. Okay. We have arrived at our second public comment time. Is there anyone who would like to make public comment? Yes. Come on up, state your name and address, 3 minutes. You can hopefully get the mic to go higher.
Mic is a little low.
Yeah.
I might just be tall. Maybe we should hold it like a rock star.
Do it.
Mike Smith, 102 Colfax. I just had a comment and a question about 11B, the change authority for the increase of the city manager spending authority. As a resident, the last time I asked about this, I was forwarded a link to the Excel document, which Mr. Keith mentioned, that is completely un-user-friendly. You say user hostile. It's like 50 tabs and 500 rows, and nobody can figure that out. So I appreciate that he mentioned that you guys would put the data in to Power BI to make it a little bit more friendly for the residents to review. I definitely see the need for the demo for the residents, and being able to do that here so it can get on camera and recorded would be helpful for the future. But I would also ask if it would be possible to just get like a brief list of examples. So if we're going from 100,000 to 200,000, what items would not have been covered that would now be covered? Is it like a fire truck, or is it like a new building? That's a big jump in funds, and just being able to have like a bullet list of, a for dummies guide of what the difference covers would be helpful for the residents. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Welcome. Name, address, limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'm Donald Shuemaker at 8644 Burnside Court. I just saw you guys last week. You look so good. I wanted to let you know, just while we were sitting here, Prince William County voted 5-3 to cancel 28 completely, and I hope the public knows that too. But I want you to know in the article that we were cited as one of the obstacles of getting it done, including Manassas and Fairfax, which is completely unfair. And I think that, Madam Mayor, I think that you really should reach out to the reporter. I can talk to you afterwards, because I think that we just got unfairly maligned when it's not our project and it's not our money. Sorry. Advertisements on Inside Nova. But that's a project of regional significance that is supposed to be paid for with MVTA money that we all pay into. I sat on the board with many of you guys when we passed resolution after resolution after resolution in order to support 28. We hosted many of the meetings in our city at the community center to facilitate community input into what were the right options. What features did we want the road to have? Did we want to expand what was there? One of the options that the public may not know was there was a Euclid Avenue option that ended up not making it to the end. So, just because Prince William says, well, we don't want to do it, and by the way, they're going to send the money back. That's what the article says. So now there's no money. So we're going to end up having to start all over again if we even can come up with another solution. So I just wanted to say that just since we've been sitting here in this meeting, it hit the news, and it's not a problem that's going to go away. We have the return to office mandate with the federal government. Traffic's actually going to increase again. So I hope that we can come up with a strategy as a region and reach out to Prince William and find out, can we resurrect what was already started? Can we pursue another option? Because there were about 15 options way back in like 2017 for this, and they got whittled down. Maybe we need to pick up one of the other options. And I'd love to talk to you guys offline more about this, but I feel like this is a huge issue for our residents too. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Sure.
To that point, there is a public meeting, I believe, on Route 28, innovations that will take place in this City Hall chambers on February 26th at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's open to the public, so everyone should show up and express their concern at that time. Again, that's Wednesday, February 26th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. here in Manassas Park Council Chambers, Route 26.
About the 28 project?
Yes, Route 28, yes.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to make public comment? Okay. City manager report. Anything?
Yeah, I got a couple things. First is, I don't know if anybody noticed, I was walking around without a coat today for the first time since I've been in Virginia. But apparently that's going to change starting tomorrow. So I did want to let you know that we are expecting another cold snap, and the crews are ready to pre-treat and do the brine and all that stuff. So you'll start seeing that happening probably tomorrow evening through Saturday. That leads into the placement of the walkway over the track. So that's scheduled to happen, rain, snow, ice, or sleet, on Saturday and Sunday. They need to plan to do it between trains, basically. So they gave us a very long, detailed, technical explanation today of what the factors are. I can't repeat that. Just, they're going to give us more details as it gets closer to, on the specific times, but Saturday or Sunday, that walkway will be put in place. Then the other thing is I just like to let you know that we have, the library's going to have the Black Excellence Expo on Saturday, the 8th, between 11 and 4. Black Excellence Expo, B-E-E, like spelling bee. Library people are creative. On February 13th, Family Food Market at Manassas Park High School starts at 4 p.m. We will be closed on the 17th for President's Day. The next meeting I thought was going to be the 25th. Now here we're having a special one on the 11th to appoint your missing members. And that's just, I'd like to give you the calendar just to remind people what's coming up. So, and that's it, unless you have questions for me.
Great, thank you. Anyone? No questions. Okay, then we are up to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. We'll see you all next Tuesday or Saturday at the library.